Okay, so there's this new pro male content maker, or relatively new. Their channel's still small. He's called Tired Man, and I'm just gonna watch one of these videos and react to it and talk about what he's talking about and add my own analysis to it. So I'm also doing this to help plug his channel as well because he needs more subscribers, he needs more comments. So he does good videos on this on the subject of men's rights.
Welcome. Today I'm going to take a look at the popular subreddit Ask Feminists.
So I remember the Ask Feminists subreddit post on the fact that the National Organisation of Women blocked equal shared parenting, right? And it was just gaslighting, because that's all they can do. They can just gaslight. Now, I've noticed something that cults tend to do, right? And I was puzzled by it at first, and I realised why he did it. And it's actually obvious. So what cults will do, they'll act in a weird way that's off-putting, right? And that'll drive a lot of people off because they're testing you. They want to see if you're the sort of person that can boundary violate and take the piss out of and do something weird or stupid or demanding. And if you tolerate it, you're the sort of person they want to recruit. If you're put off and you go away, you're not good to them anyway, right? They don't want anything to do with you. You're not their sort of person. This is the same thing feminists do here, right? They're here to gaslight, and if there's going to be any useful male allies, right, they're going to have to be honest that put up with this abuse and bullshit and gaslighting and lies, because this is gaslighting and lies, okay?
Supposedly a place where men can ask feminist questions and learn how benevolent is the feminist hate movement to allow a place to do damage control and gaslight men even more. Usually,
the thing is, feminists don't even need to do damage control, right? They can do whatever they want and they get away with it. Like Amber Heard can blatantly admit to hitting a man, Johnny Depp, and the feminist media will side with her and gaslight her and pretend she never said that, right? They don't need to do damage control. Feminists can ride in the streets in Latin America and attack people with hammers and curb stomp them, and the male victim who gets curb stomped is the one who gets arrested, right? And the media didn't report on it at all. Yeah? They don't need damage control. So that's the thing. Things that a lot of political movements have to do, feminists don't have to do. They do this for sadistic kicks and thrills, in my opinion. But let's carry on.
they shield themselves with this is not a real feminist narrative. But here we have literally a post calling every man that go there asking questions a troll. So what more proof of their nature could you want? Let's read it together. And as you can guess, it will be a whole lot of anecdotes, unprovable claims, and strawman arguments. Breaking the troll code. 230 likes. So I've been here for a few months, and one thing I've noticed is how trolls and antagonistic posters, she's already mixing things together, seem to use certain phrases where they say something but mean something else, she claims. Anyway, I'm trying to create a lexicon or dictionary of these code phrases, meaning she wants everyone to call these men trolls as well. So far I have, this is a genuine question, equals to, I am going to ask something so unbelievably stupid, you should stamp troll on my forehead.
The sort of man who phrases it like that is very submissive. So the men who ask these questions are being very submissive. They don't want to offend the feminists, and the feminists are fake offended anyway, and they hate them anyway. So there's no point being submissive to feminists, right?
So here we go, right off the bat. The first assumption that the so-called trolls ask stupid questions, where stupid just means anything she doesn't like, because there are no specifics, but likely something.
So anything that makes feminism look bad, feminists do not like. They can't defend their position. So what they do, they don't defend the position, they gatekeep the positions of power and influence in society and just make men put up with what their feminists hate. This is why there's no point arguing with them. Right? There's no point arguing with Nazis. We had to defeat the Nazis and smash the Nazis. We have to get feminists out of power, period, and keep them out of power as a dangerous virus.
Something based on reality that challenges female privilege, instead of just accepting the existence of the patriarchy. Feminists always say, equals to some woman on social media said. And this is just doing damage control, as we all know the average woman on social media is a feminist.
The thing is, 140 feminist organisations signed a letter supporting Amber Heard, right? Feminists have pushed for all sorts of disgusting discriminatory laws against men and for the right to kill the unborn and the born, right? Okay? Like, they tried to pass a euthanasia law, basically, for newborn babies in a couple of American states. As far as I know, it didn't pass, but they tried to pass it. That's mainstream feminism. All the feminists cackling with glee, right? Cackling with glee when there was like a homosexual rapist raping other men and drugging them and raping them. They're cackling with glee and celebrating it. Those are mainstream feminists. We don't use that standard with when the alt-right nut jobs incite violence and say really derogatory things or outrageous things. We don't accept that. Oh, that's not the true alt-right. We go, yeah, that's the right. That's the far right, right there in front of our faces, and that's what and we all know it. It's the far right. We should hold feminists to the same standard. We know this is all feminists. The things I've seen feminists say, and as Karen Strawn once said, the moderate feminists and the radical feminists, the only difference is tone, right? Like the radical feminists who are mainstream, quote unquote mainstream, in polite society, quote unquote, right, just say the same thing as the hateful feminists, the violent feminists, the extreme feminists. They just say it in a nicer tone. It's the same thing, right? Like, they paint men as demons, they paint men as rapists, false threat narratives. It's the same thing. So yeah, this weird standard, that's not a real feminist. No, bullshit.
But obviously she doesn't like seeing feminism called out. My feminist friend says it's just the same thing, but now she's giving a different excuse.
I'm noticing this weird standard of cherry picking, right? That what they do against the men's rights movement, they cherry pick lies or very odd quotes and statements, right? But they don't hold themselves to the same standards, of course.
Cherry picking. How many feminists do we need as proof then? 10? 1,000? 30 million?
Well, the proof we need is that feminist House of Lords in the UK who called for a male-only curfew. That got mainstream feminist support from the mainstream feminist media, right? Okay, so they either said, yeah, we should pass this law, or we should talk about it to teach men a lesson, to show how problematic men are, right? Or it's interesting that she's talking about it. She's just started a conversation. They use that excuse, but that's mainstream feminism. Yeah, I've done a video about it a couple of years ago.
But no, I am cherry picking the thoughts actions of one single person to be representative of an entire movement. Yeah, as if. And now she starts giving examples of the unbelievably stupid things that men ask. I think feminism should do more to appeal to men.
No, feminism. This is a grovelling coward male who asks that question, right? Feminism shouldn't exist. Period. It shouldn't appeal to men. It should be outlawed and abolished. And feminism is not egalitarianism.
I think feminism should be called egalitarianism. Well, it is a waste of time to try to talk things out with your enemy. Men need to learn this the hard way, even if that group is made of women. And let's check the feminist gaslighting translation anyway.
And the thing is, these women are pushing us out of jobs and status, raping us and destroying our lives, right? Taking our dignity, taking our rights, taking our jobs, taking our education away from us, sabotaging our lives. They are our enemies, these feminist women. They're doing it on purpose. Like, down marking boys in schools is absolutely fucking evil. That's actually that is like approaching sex offender vibes. Like, deliberately going out trying to sabotage a child's life when they're young and vulnerable. That's very predatory, right?
Quote, damn you women. Why don't you focus more on me? You are so selfish. And well, this is not even making a point. It's just rewarding that to make the naive man look resentful.
And the thing is, it's projection as well from the feminists. That's what they really feel. Focus on me. Focus on my hate. Focus on my complaints. I hate you. Me. That's all it is.
Feminists do not see any problem in their female supremacist behavior.
Yeah.
Next, what is feminist doing about the male loneliness epidemic? Translated to, why isn't feminism helping me to get laid?
This is female privilege in action. Females have got access to intimacy that men do not have, right? That's why they're disparaging it. That is female privilege. Like, men are cut off from intimacy because when you status rape them, they don't get access to intimacy. Period. Right? And a woman can still find you attractive, but if you're too low status, she'll discard you. And apparently, it's like if a woman dates a low status man and she likes him and she finds him attractive, her female friends will convince her to dump him, and she won't want to be seen with him in public anyway. That doesn't happen very often anyway. These sorts of arrangements don't last long anyway, right? But men get cut off from intimacy because they get status raped. Yeah, heterosexual men do.
And once again, this is the same tactic to create a strawman and not make any point at all.
Yeah.
I find it hard to support feminism because of misandry. Good for you, man. The feminist response: my feelings were hurt, blah blah blah, because obviously this is just about men's feelings, right?
So my feelings were hurt, so now I'm going to support ending gendered violence and social. I'm not going to support ending gendered violence and social inequality. So you've got to address that lie. There is no such thing as gendered violence against women. Only men suffer gendered violence, and there's no social inequality against women. So this is why these lies have got to be called out over and over again. They should not be accepted because they are used to justify misandry. There is no social inequality against women. Women are privileged over men. Full stop.
So now I'm not going to support ending bullshit. There's no gendered violence against women. All the evidence points to men being the victims.
Yes.
And then she tries to scapegoat other minorities, talking about social inequality, and this has nothing to do with the point under discussion. And it's just
Also, I want to point out something out as well. The gendered violence narrative from feminists is the same as the white genocide narrative from white nationalists. Like, oh yeah, we're whites have been targeted for violence and they're being murdered and they're being killed off in South Africa, right? That's the white genocide conspiracy theory. It's almost identical. It is identical to the femicide conspiracy theory, right? It's the same bullshit lies. Whites do not suffer more violence than black people. Women do not suffer more violence than men. But white nationalists play the victim over imaginary violence, right? Or violence framed out of context, and so do women. Yeah? Women suffer less violence than men. It's just as simple as that.
a way to build legitimacy, stealing it from the men in those minorities. So just don't go to tell them what you think feminists are doing wrong. See last fake example. You'll get sarcastically called a strong man, slandering you as a weak man, because this is what the feminists always do. And claiming that this is justified because you are going around calling women weak, which is completely made up. Usually feminists are smarter than exposing themselves like this.
They're not exposing themselves. They get away with this. That's the thing. They're not really exposing themselves. They get away with this. Like, you can show this to men. You can even show this to anti-feminist men. They'll downplay this and do the not all women shtick, right? Like they always do. So they're not exposing themselves. It's only exposing themselves if they suffer consequences for it, and they don't suffer consequences for this. The editor of the Huffington Post, she got to tweet "kill all men" and she got away with it. She kept her job.
But this is what happens when they despise the male sex so much that they even resent talking to men with the purpose of gaslighting them. Thank you for listening.
Okay, so please sub to his channel, right? The Tired Man. Here is it. So that's Gotham Chess. Anyway, I'll put the video in the description. Sub to the Tired Man and leave comments on these videos. Engage him. Try and encourage him to make more videos. We need more content makers in the Promo Collective. So my period in activity is going to end now. I'm going to start making videos regularly. I just needed to take a break and recharge. So that's all for now. Over and out.